What is up, my fellow creeps? Resident Evil 9 isn't even out yet, and my brain has already built like 3 completely different games in my head. So today I want to talk you through the 5 RE9 theories that have been living in my walls, and a couple of these would completely change the series if they're true. Let's get into it. Now, a quick heads up before we dive in, this is important to know. These are not leaks. They're not confirmed. This is just me connecting some dots, reading way too many posts, and cooking up some what-if nightmares for fun. So do not take any of this as gospel, but if Capcom does any of it, we are definitely rolling the clip back. Now picture this. End of RE9. You fought your way through hell, burned through all your ammo, saved 3 different side characters, lost some friends, and you finally reach it, the Lighthouse. This thing is supposed to be safety, guidance, hope. Instead, it's being eaten alive by this massive, pulsating black entity that looks like the Megamycete's evil older cousin. No helicopter, no cheesy one-liner, no "we're finally safe," just the realization that the world is actually doomed. Now, we're going to come back to that because that's my "we're cooked" finale theory. But before we nuke hope completely, let's talk about how we even got there. Alright, theory 1, and this one actually lines up scarily well with RE lore. Umbrella wasn't the source of the nightmare, they were just the first idiots to poke it. Resident Evil has this tradition where the deeper you go, the worse it gets. But instead of another secret lab, RE9 flips the script. There's an ancient biological ecosystem buried beneath Raccoon City. Not a lost civilization, not a temple, just this massive, fossilized, but still living underground organism spread through the bedrock. And here's the twist. Umbrella found it decades before the first outbreak. Not the whole thing, just fragments, spores, strange tissue samples, enough for Spencer's immortality obsession, the early ultimate lifeform experiments, the prototype strains that eventually became the T virus. So Raccoon City didn't become a horror hotspot because of curses or fate. It was the testing ground built directly on top of the thing that inspired Umbrella's entire bioweapon program. And Umbrella never realized they were only studying crumbs. RE9 reveals the full organism, an enormous, ancient, interconnected nightmare that Umbrella accidentally woke up by building labs right above it. So when the new infected start crawling out in RE9, they're not Umbrella mutants. They're the original life forms, the prototypes Umbrella tried and failed to copy. This keeps all past canon intact. Umbrella still calls the original outbreaks, but their science came from ancient biology they didn't understand. Meaning RE9 doesn't retcon anything. It just shows the root of it all. And honestly, it makes Raccoon City history make way too much sense. Theory number 2, and this one is gonna make everyone a little nervous, and I'm probably gonna ruffle some feathers here, but remember, this is theories. This is not confirmed things at all. We're just having a little fun. But Leon Kennedy might be RE9's ultimate clickbait trap. Think about it. Capcom hasn't confirmed him, no trailer, no art, nothing official, but the community has basically manifested him into the game through sheer hope. So imagine Capcom going full chaos mode. Leon is in RE9, but he's not the protagonist. He's the emotional grenade. He shows up early, maybe during the intro mission, maybe as your mentor, maybe as a backup to help establish the threat, and then something goes horribly sideways. He disappears without explanation. He gets infected. Or Capcom does the absolute unthinkable and kills him off in Act 1. Not because they hate us, but because it instantly raises the stakes in a way that Resident Evil has never done before. It turns RE9 into what happened to Leon instead of Leon's next adventure. And narratively, it actually works. Losing Leon signals how serious the outbreak is. It puts pressure on the new protagonist, Grace. It gives the story a tragic mystery hook, and every scene becomes more intense because the writers just proved nothing is off limits. Capcom would get roasted alive on social media. People would scream, they would burn towns down, but it would be bold, memorable, and genuinely terrifying. To be clear, this is pure what if, but the idea that RE9 uses Leon as community bait instead of a safe comfort hero, that's the exact kind of evil move that would propel this game into different territories. Now, theory 3, Grace. She isn't chosen. She's an accident. Resident Evil has a long history of science miracles born from total disasters. So for RE9, imagine this twist. Grace survives things no normal person should. Not because she's special, but because Umbrella screwed up decades ago. Back when Umbrella found fragments of that ancient organism under Raccoon City, they tried to reverse engineer parts of it. The goal was simple: make a human who can resist infection. They failed, or so they thought. One test subject slipped through the cracks, a distant experiment forgotten, misplaced, or abandoned when Umbrella collapsed. That line eventually leads to Grace. And throughout the game, we start seeing the signs. She shakes off bites or infections way too easily. She has strange dreams or waking visions of the black entity. She can feel infected creatures before they appear, like echoes in her nervous system. Then the twist punches you right in the face. Her immunity isn't protection, it's compatibility. The ancient organism has been waiting for a perfect host, a human body strong enough to carry a planetary level infection without dying. And Grace is that exact evolutionary accident. So while we think we're saving the world, we're basically delivering the final puzzle piece straight into the infection's hands. Theory 4 takes things out of isolated outbreak territory into full-blown global doom. Most Resident Evil stories follow this pattern. This mansion's screwed. This city's screwed. This village is really screwed. But what if RE9 finally reveals the truth? The infection isn't spreading, it's waking up. The black entity we keep referencing isn't just some big final boss. It's one node in a global ancient biological network that's been sleeping under the earth for thousands of years, maybe longer. And suddenly every outbreak in the series starts looking different. Every major hotspot in RE history sits on top of buried nodes of this ancient organism. None of these places caused the outbreaks, but they created environments where viruses mutated faster, BOWs behaved erratically, and Umbrella's experiments advanced at impossible speeds. Suddenly, all these isolated outbreaks across the series start looking less like accidents and more like the early pings of something huge waking up, which brings us back to the Lighthouse. Alright, finale time. Lighthouses are simple. They guide you, they save you, they mean home and safety. So in RE9, imagine this entire game builds the lighthouse up as the last sanctuary. Evac is at the lighthouse. That's where the last ships are leaving. It's the only safe point left on the coast. But here's the twist. The lighthouse isn't a symbol of hope. It's a signal tower. Decades ago, when Umbrella first discovered fragments of this ancient organism underground, they used coastal facilities around the world, including this lighthouse, to monitor bioactivity beneath the surface. What they didn't realize was that organism reacts to electromagnetic frequencies. So the lighthouse's beam, its radio equipment, its constant pulses of light, they're not signaling humans, they're signaling it. Grace's visions intensify the closer she gets. The infected become more organized, the ground feels alive. And when you finally open that last door, you see it. The lighthouse completely wrapped in the black pulsing organism. The light, no longer a beacon but a grotesque glowing heart. This wasn't a destination. This wasn't a safe haven. This was a summoning point. A biological GPS guiding the engineered host straight to where the network needed them. You hear the distant helicopter. The radio sputters, the music rises, and then nothing. No rescue, no escape, no miracle. Just the realization we didn't survive. We arrived. Cut to black. Roll credits on the first true "we lost" ending in Resident Evil history. No clean wrap up, no mission complete, just the hard cut to black and the knowledge that the world is doomed. So yeah, those are my 5 RE9 theories. Now, once again, these are mostly conjured by my own mind and some reading that I've done online, so don't take this as truth, but it is a very fun exercise. Which one of these would you actually want to see? Which one would make you unplug your console and go touch grass? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to see if anyone can come up with something even wilder than this. And if you guys are looking to scratch that itch of Resident Evil before RE9 comes out, be on the lookout for our new video that goes over the top 5 games that are like the original Resident Evil. If you guys want more horror rumors, news, and updates, please like and subscribe to our channel. Stay creepy, my friends. That is all I got for now.